Okay, welcome back to the channel. We promised you we'd get started on the bodywork, but we realized before we really dig into sanding and puttying and all that stuff, we want to get the rest of the holes cut into the bodywork. So this video is going to be focused on getting all the lights and light fixtures done, and when we're finished, the lights will be plug and play when we get ready to install the body for the final time. So let's get started. We're going to move to the back of the car and begin there. Okay, I hope you can see this. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to measure the distance from the edge here to the edge here. We're going to find the center, and then we're going to move that mark up to the top here so we can see it. Once we do that, we're going to take our template. And what I did was I folded the template in half to find the center, and I put a little mark there. So now I'm going to line up my center mark there, make sure this is even the way I want it. That actually looks pretty good. It's centered right in there, looking pretty smart. And then you take this and lay it over the top, and what you're looking for when you lay it over the top is that the two bolts align with the drill holes, okay? Don't forget this drill hole up here for the wire, okay? These will be 3/16 holes, and then once I have this where I want it, I'm going to get it taped in place, okay? It says to tape it in place first, and then check everything, but I got it all exactly where I want it. Now I'm going to tape it in place, and then I can drill through these holes here, and we'll be ready to get that mounted. One thing about these templates, very important. If you want these templates to scale after you print it out, you've got to measure it, because I found on my computer and my printer, they were off as much as 1/4 of an inch on these distances. So what I had to do was I printed it out, and then I measured the distance on a known mark here. See, this says it's 3 inches, right? So I would print it out, then measure it, and it'd only come up to 3 1/4. So I'd have to enlarge it or decrease the size of it when I printed it out. So most of mine were printed between 102 and 104%, depending on the template, to get the measurements on the template to be to scale and correct. So that's very important. Don't forget that. Check the actual measurements on your templates after you print them out, or you're going to cause yourself a lot of chaos. The template is placed, and now each one of these holes, each one of these marks is going to get a 3/16 inch hole. And I'll do it right through the template. Okay, holes drilled in my template. And again, the reason I printed my templates rather than just pulling them out of the book and using them that way, because those would be correct, is I did this on a light cardstock to give it a little more strength and stability. Makes life a lot easier when you're trying to match them up to the car. So here we go. There's our holes. And now we can go ahead. Wire runs through here. The top one. And then, like butter. Okay, moving on to the headlight buckets. Yeah, we got the little template here, but I got the pre-drilled holes. And as it turns out, they're drilled to the right size. The only thing I found is the actual holes where the 2 guide pins on the back of the bucket will go in are slightly off. By the time I drill these out to 3/16, it should be enough to make it fall into place there. So this should be an easy beginning to the headlights. Okay, we already talked about how to get this fitted to the chassis, or to the body of the car, all right, with the little rubber seal. Now we're going to talk about assembling the headlight itself. To make things more complicated, I elected to go with the LEDs from Breeze. So we have to assemble this whole package to install it in the car. So step 1 is we're going to go ahead and install the bulb. It only goes in one way. So just keep spinning it around till it drops in place. Look at that, second shot, almost like I knew it was going to go there. And then you just pinch these together. And there's a good close-up of what it looks like when it's installed. All right. Now, the next thing you have to worry about is the transformer, okay? Your regular bulbs won't have these, but we have to worry about this. Now, you can, if you want, hook these two together and zip tie this down in the bottom here. Then with this plug it into here, and then you have to open up this hole large enough for this to come out, which hooks to this, which hooks to the body of your car. All right. I didn't like that. The other option they give you is to hook it to the outside. So that's what I did, and I just think it's a little bit cleaner installation. So this we're actually going to hook right here. I'll put a little double-sided carpet tape here, and then I'll put a zip tie around it to hold it in place as per the instructions. I'll open this hole up enough to feed this through this hole so it can plug into this transformer. And now this transformer will plug in to this little end piece that's provided by Breeze, and this hooks into your wiring harness. So you got ground, you got low beam is red, and high beam is white. Pretty simple. Okay, so we've already got our rubber seal installed. We had this installed as we were measuring our holes and setting our holes up on the body itself. Okay, so the next thing I need to do is I need to pass this plug through this hole, which means I have to blow that out to a 5/8 of an inch to allow this to pass through there. And even at that, I'll let you know it's a tight fit. Before we put this in the bucket, we got to secure it to the mounting ring. It only goes one way, and you're going to spin it till you get the holes to line up. It'll make sense to you when you have it in your hand. So what you see is I have these three little raised areas on the bulb here, right? So this ring will only go one way. So spin it around until you have three holes lining up with these three raised portions here. So we'll set this in here like this. Okay? And then we're going to move it around till I have all three lined up, just like that. Then we're going to take these tiny little clamps here, and what they do is they just clip on like this. They just go on like that to hold it in place. And can't really show you on this one. But let me get it all done. I'll show you to you. It'll make a lot more sense. Okay, I hope you can see the little clips there, how they're in place. The small brass looking screw. I don't think it's actually brass, but they just clamp down on these little arms here, and that's what holds it into the bracket. And then we drop it in here, and we have to start feeding this cord through this hole. So if you can see the difference between the top and the bottom there, that's where I ground it down to get room for the transformer. Okay, so we're just going to come around the wire like this, and then we're going to stuff this in the hole. Okay, next thing I want to do is make sure the transformer can plug in, which it can. So I'm going to put a little piece of heavy-duty double-sided tape here, and I'm going to tape it there. Then I'm going to drill a hole here and secure it with a zip tie. The zip tie does the real heavy lifting. The tape is just kind of to make it easy to work with. Little tape to hold it. Now I'm going to take a 1/8 drill, and I'm going to drill a hole here and here, run a zip tie through it, tighten it up. And there's a good look of the finished product on that. Now remember, we're going to go and we're going to make sure we fill these holes with silicone here so that we don't get any leakage. Okay, now we're going to secure the light to the bucket. The first step is to put in the adjuster screws, okay? And if you remember the 2 points that went into the body of the car, these here, that kind of stick up, see how they're raised up? These screw in here. Now this is just plastic, so don't go crazy on it, all right? Be very, very gentle. And you want to screw it in. What I found is screw it in till it sticks out about that much. That seems to work pretty good. We're going to take the light itself, and we're going to spin it around till these two slanted holes here line up with the adjustment screws, and we're going to just set it in here on the shoulder of the adjustment screws and give it its little quarter turn to hold it, okay? And once you're holding it in there like that, you come down to the bottom and see right down here, one of these fancy dancy little screws goes right in this hole right here, and that holds it all together. And when you're done, that's what it looks like. Now, we're not going to talk about putting on the ring or anything like that. What I wanted to do was get the whole assembly complete, take it over to the car and test it, make sure it lights up, and then put this in a box where it's all assembled and ready to go. Really, for this point of the build, all we really needed to do was to fit those buckets so that we did what we had to do to the body and we could move on with more body work. But I wanted to have this completely done so when we come back, we're ready to just go plug and play and get on with our lives. We've got this temporarily hooked up to our wiring harness. This is what came with the Factory 5 kit, and it's going to plug right into our LED here. The only thing is, see that little gap there? What you want to do when you put these together for real is shave about 1/8 of an inch. If you can see where they curve here, just cut the curve off on all these so that these will plug in all the way. Otherwise, you end up with this gap. Okay? But the good news is we have a headlight. All right? So now I'm going to take this all apart, and I'm going to make these wire attachments permanent, and that's it. These lights will go in a nice little box in a back bedroom until we're ready to install them permanently. There's the 3 butt joints for our plug. And there it is, all covered and looking pretty. Okay, for the turn signal, it's pretty easy. You're just going to take the rubber gasket that goes with the turn signal, and you're going to set it over the hole. Make sure that see I have the pre-drilled holes. Make sure they line up. And you're going to drill these to 7/32, this to 1 1/4, and then test fit it. Then when you're done, you wire it up to your wiring harness. Now you're going to have to splice in here because you have 2 options. You can either splice in here and pick off of the ground that's going to your headlight, or you can just take your ground wire and hardwire it to somewhere on the chassis. I'm probably going to splice it. Okay, moving on to the tail light. Okay, I've got the pre-drilled holes here, so this all goes together pretty well. I had to make this hole just a little bit bigger because it was off by a touch. Ordinarily, this hole would be plenty large enough, but we're going to go with plugs on this, right? So I've got plenty of room inside here to make this hole just a little bit more of an oval that I can fit this through, so I can have plugs on these lights to make them easy to put on and take off. So that's what we're going to set up. Okay, there's the enlarged hole. That's going to support our plugs. Okay, wiring for the rear lights. Now remember, we have the converter that I installed inside the panel area, and that tied back into the wiring harness. So it's not exactly intuitive how these wires go together. So you got the lights coming off, or the wires coming off the light, and coming off of your harness, you're going to go on the driver's side, you're going to go black to white, tan to black, and then yellow to red. On the passenger side, the only difference is you're going to have a white wire coming up to your red. And here's a really good diagram I stole off the forums. Okay, without hooking everything up to the actual body of the car, let's see how we did. Left blinker, right blinker, flashers, low beam, high beam, low beam, blinker with lights to the left, blinker with lights to the right. All right, well done. Okay, so there you have it. Now we've got our lights all boxed up and stuffed in a back bedroom till the body's complete, and then we'll be ready to just plug and play and be on our way. On the next one, we're going to dive into working on the doors, the trunk, and the hood. And we'll really be getting into the body work full force. So be sure to join us. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.
Jim,
Yes, my love.
a pink dog just jumped up on my couch.